hope y'all didn't think I forgot about this. As always, when there's a big tournament, y'all know you can go here to look at the decks, get a little bit of a breakdown, find out what's doing well, what's not doing so well. Let's go ahead and dig right into it. So this is the North American Continental Championship. This was about 2.5 weeks ago now. Yours truly was there. I just missed making day two. I was 13th after Swiss. You had to be top 10, unfortunately, but it was a lot of fun. Fantastically run event. Super, super awesome community. Like, seriously, you guys don't know how good the FFTCG community is compared to every other card game community. But win or lose, we got to go review the deck lists. And the winner, your North American Continental Champion, is, of course, Ryan Chen. Ryan, so it was 2-deck tourney, which means that you have two decks, can't share any cards between the two. So you can't run like two in one deck, one in the other, one in one. If it's in one deck, it cannot be in the other in any number of copies. And the most prevalent deck in the room was Mono Water by far. So what it kind of ends up is that if you're playing a mono deck, it's a lot easier to fit those staples in. You just have to make sure your other deck doesn't share a deck type with that first deck. So Ryan Chen's first deck was Mono Water. I think this was the deck he usually ran second. He led with his Earth Lightning list. But as far as Mono Water goes, there was, of course, the big Sildra ban, but that didn't really stop this deck. Still very, very good. The addition of Shinryu fits right in. The deck wants to play nice and slow. Interestingly, Ryan didn't play any copies, or I guess we were on the 3 blue. We're not on like the Tomberries or the Tros. This is a very fair deck for Mono Water. We're on a Crystal package, so we can make a Glaciella work. The full 3 Atomos 3 Cucullin. Let me say, by the way, Cucullin was an MVP this event, from what I saw. Like every time Ryan cast that card, it ended up just kind of being game-warpingly good. It's funny that this Opus 10 common just gets better and better as the game goes along. So, going through it, there's got to be a better card than Tidus, guys. Come on. Come on, not like this. I can't see a world where this is a card worth running at 3. Like, he even puts himself on the bottom of the deck. Your opponent's not going to kill 3 of them. He's not that critical. We could find one more water forward, I swear. I swear. 3 lightning, of course, because this deck does tend to want to curve its backups out. That makes a lot of sense. The full 3 copies of Glaciella. This is a crystal build. We're on the 2 Oracle backups as well. Not a huge crystal package, but I mean, even casting Atomos for 3 is probably fine. So I get it. 2 copies of Lena, 2 copies of the Fiend. This is actually a surprising one, given that I think the Fiend's best matchup was against Rydia, and Mono Water's always kind of just done well into Rydia. 3 full copies of Shinryu. Shinryu was the breakout star of the event. You might have noticed that every single one of the deck lists that I put out post-event now has used 3 copies of Shinryu. That is not an accident. This card is absolutely meta-warping. You just kind of accidentally go to 3 forwards all the time, as it turns out. And if your opponent is in a recovery state and they top deck a Shinryu, they kind of can just reset the game to neutral while also having a big beat stick that threatens to do it again in 2 turns in a deck that wants to ramp backups like this. 3 copies of Ash. This pairs with our Realm as well. You can go like Realm, Ash, Realm, kill 2 things, generate a crystal, and just kind of generally be a good card. Our summon package looks pretty normal. The 2 Sahagin Chief, again, kind of a card that's come from out of nowhere to be just a really good, scaling payload for water. Like, as the game goes along, this card gets better. Bouncing 2 things turns out to be really good. It also has a bit of the Althea effect, where it kind of turns off interaction. You can't really target anything profitably, because if it is worth it for your opponent to crack the Sahagin Chief, then they'll just do it every time. The 3 blue worms. The backups were on the 1 Princess Sarah, the 1 Geomancer. I guess we just wanted one more backup to run. I would go for a second Loporrit instead, but it is pretty nice that you can cycle the Geomancer, but I think that you can cycle the Loporrit using the action ability instead. 1 copy of Waka. EX Burst makes sense. Sarah can get either the Princess Sarah or the Gordon, sure. 2 Oracles and the Alchemist. Looks really good. Like my only criticism is we gotta find the next water card, guys. Come on, we can't be running 3 Tidus. um, Personal bias aside, fantastic list, obviously. Uh, we also have Earth Lightning, Chaos Arc. If you know what I went to the list, the deck, or sorry, took to the event, I took Mono Lightning. I would have considered Earth Lightning had I had the ability to, but because I was using my Earth package for Rydia, this wasn't available to me. So of note, we're on the Delusory Warlock and Weighty Antiquity package, 3/2 line. We're also on Rydia plus 1 Seymour. Interesting. So I guess Rydia has to get Rydia otherwise. We're on a 3/2 Crystal Gen backup package. The 1 Chadley. Chadley's fantastic in these, by the way. Our 2 copies of Shantoto. For our forwards, we have the 1 copy of Cisne to help us discard our Chaos Arcs. This card is so good in these lists, by the way. 1 copy of Ramza. Ramza just ends up being a good card the moment you have a crystal to sit on. And you just need, like, sometimes it's just nice to have something that Crystal does other than make Robo a good card. So I get it. I don't know if I would be running this, but Ramza is admittedly really, really obnoxious. Just a 2 CP break a forward is pretty good. And yeah, it reminds me a lot of like the EX Porum, where like the card secretly has unblockable, even though it doesn't actually say unblockable on the card. 1 copy of Gabranth, 3 copies of Roble. I mean, it's the Earth Crystal staple. 3 copies of Exdeath, 3 copies of Sonin to help protect our Exdeath. I'm actually surprised to see 3 Sonin in here. Usually that's like a 2 of, and also no copies of Vanille, notably. I guess we just kind of thought Vanille was a little bit slower than what we're trying to go for. We have the Chaos Arc to kind of tax our opponent anyway. 3 copies of Man in Black, the 1 Fell Thanos to help with our Ice Lightning matchup, 1 copy of Shadowlord to stave off some aggression, and then our full 3 copies of Chaos. Summons, we're on a lot of them. The 1 CP Ramu, 2 Q Sith, 1 Ramu to help break monsters. We're on Fenrir, breaking multi-elements. 2 Mist Dragon, 1 Heck, 2 copies of 5 CP Heck, and the 3 Arc. I really like this, obviously. It's really, really good. Notably, if you are a Chaos Arc pilot, the one thing you can look at this list, let me go 20 forwards. This list is not looking to kill the opponent. It is looking to get to the point of inevitability where Man in Black and Chaos wins the game. Do not play Chaos Arc thinking, I want to go aggressive. There's no reason to run an Estinian in this list. There's no reason to run Behemoth K. A lot of those cards that are trying to kill your opponent, why are we killing our opponent? We can just Chaos Arc them over and over again, right? We can stick our Exdeath and wipe their entire field. This list is so good. I think I might find room for the 1 copy of Vanille potentially. At least to like kind of tax out like a wind deck potentially, if we're worried about like getting scaled into like by mono wind. But even into mono decks, being able to go 5 backups Chaos Arc is really, really potent. You really have to like play against it to believe it. In this deck, every single backup except for I guess Rydia is multiplayable or uniquely named. Sticking on, we had Megissa and 6. I'll straight up say I'm not a huge Megissa fan. I know that like the idea is like, oh, you can like Yuzuki, but like Yuzuki doesn't protect against a lot of the hate people are already packing for decks like 13, for decks like, so like you can go sort of fast, but like you're still running into a lot of the same issues, and it's like this like really fragile combo deck that like wins the game on like turn 4 or it loses immediately a lot of the time. I do like the Ace as a way of trying to mitigate that some, but this isn't a deck for me. For what it's worth, this is as good as you could expect. We're on our scaling Ifrits. We have plenty of ways to ping our Megissa. We have the ability to go Megissa, Hedgehog Pie, and just kind of stash 2 more Megissa pings off to the side while we're doing so. Yuzuki is really, really good at stopping cards like Luso from actually like doing anything to you. Axstar is obviously really, really good. It gives us removal engine. We have Bosch and our Alfino to get our searches going. Ishtola lets us push for damage. Like, all the cards are good. It's just a matter of, is this the best thing you could be playing? And on the weekend, it apparently was. Hunter Nance had a fantastic weekend. I will say that the Ace innovation in Megissa was super, super smart. Whoever the first person to start doing that was, major props. You get a big Ghoul02 thumbs up from me. Searching for friends. This is a Stooge 6 list, actually. Surprising. I actually thought almost everybody had dropped the Stooges in favor of the water build. The nice thing is we're in just 2 elements, so we're a lot more consistent. Only 1 demon. Wow. I've seen so many decks on 3 demons. So this is a really aggressive 6 then. Like, we're still on the title variant, but Kurlax, 3 copies of Go-Go, I guess, to help copy our Kurlax ability. We could double Umaro, make them discard 4. That's pretty gross, I'm not going to lie. Interceptor, we're just on 3 of all of our backups. No copies of Terra. I feel like we're missing a backup, aren't we? Cyan, Shadow, Interceptor. No, that's our fire backups. Setzer, Sid. Is it just Terra? Yeah, it must just be Terra. No copies of no copies of New Lock, notably. That's actually really interesting. This is basically the same deck as last set, just with 1 copy of the demon and the sets are swapped out. Very interesting. Very interesting. Mike Powell. Mike was first after Swiss with Mono Water and Mono Wind. Remember to put these on card view. I know that some of y'all prefer that. As far as the Mono Wind goes, this looks incredible. We have our 1 copy of Nono, which it's not my favorite card, but if you're on the Chocobo engine anyway, it is a free backup that gives you the ability to ignore Dull Freeze basically for the rest of the game. Gives you free Bismarck ping once per turn. The forward package is fantastic. Again, another deck that's kind of like the Chaos Arc. You're not looking to win, you're looking to get to the point where you can't lose. And Wind does that super well. 3 Zidane, 2 Luso. I might flip those. I think Luso's a little better than Zidane personally, but I don't think I can complain with anything there. Bismarck, of course, coming back makes a lot of sense. We're on 2 copies of Typhon, the one is Homos. 1 copy of Fat Chocobo is interesting. I actually haven't seen a lot of this card seeing play. And as far as our backups go, Chocobo Sam, Fat Chocobo, and our 2 Chocobo backups. And then it looks like we have like a small Moogle package to pair with our Chocomog engine. Not much to say. Mono Wind's looking like Mono Wind. Definitely, if you haven't already seen my take on this, go check out the Mono Wind Xenos video. Mono Water, this is very close. We're on Yuna Geomancer. Triple Operate. So like our ratios are a little different on our backups. We've got our Echidna, Triple Tomberry. So this is like a monster list. We're not on the Glaciella package. Once again, though, 3 Cocoan coming in clutch. Lots of our EX burst summons. This Leviathan gets only better with age as the Yuna is doing things, but the 1 copy of the Fiend, 2 Tidus, let's go, making the right decisions there. 2 Lightning, and our 1 copy of Ash, or 3 copies of Ash. Not much to say. It's Mono Water. It's gonna do Mono Water things. And then our last qualifier, we have Fire Lightning 13, and we have a Rydia Warrior of Light, like Rainbow Rydia build. So we have Sarah, class 4th Sarah, 2 copies of Kate Sith 11, interesting. We have our Thornton. So this kind of become the go-to replacement for like Sildra and greedy Rydia builds. I get it. It's not my favorite card to run in the deck, but like when you hit off Cecil, you feel like a god. We have the 2 copies of Tyro and the 1 chance Hodo. Seems makes sense. We only have to get Iridia to 2 counters here, which is interesting. We're really not looking to cast either of these. No Amaterasu. That's also interesting to note. I feel like Amaterasu is like the best thing Rydia can do, but we're not really all in on the Rydia either. The Lulus, yeah, we're kind of all over the place on our forwards. Kind of just the Rainbow Good Stuff package. Only 2 Une is interesting as well. That's kind of notable. Definitely more all in on the Warrior of Light stuff than we are on everything else, but Cecil is a very good card as it turns out. And then right here we have Fire Lightning 13. Triple Fang, Double Vanille, Triple Null, Triple Lightning. Only 2 Ishtola. Interesting. 3 Vanille, 2 Squall. Okay. I actually really like Squall plus Vanille when you run the extra Vanille. That makes a lot of sense. 2 Seymour. We're kind of doing the thing where we split the difference. Oh, I hate this so much. 3 Hope, the 1 copy of Estinian, the 1 Sid Rains. Makes sense. Rather than run the 3rd Ishtola, we decided to run Seymour with a summon package. I'm reticent to tell you that Fenrir in 13 is good. It is really, really, really good. Protecting Lightning is so important. You blank the Lightning, you just win the game with this deck. You're high rolling, but you're already high rolling with 13, so why do you care? 2 copies of Belias to help sneak lethal, same for our Ramus, and then Phoenix as extra copies of our Lightning, 3 of Bahamut, 3 Amaterasu. This looks... Oh, this looks good. I hate how good this looks. 2 Saz, help get our summons out of the deck. 2 Selfie to recur our forwards, our Sid. Aldo, 1 copy of Reeve, 3 Lumina, 1 Lark. I like seeing 2 Reeve in these lists, and I actually really like forward Saz, but I get it. We're kind of tight on space. We don't necessarily need the extra 13 attacker. I like it. I like it a lot. So now we have people that just barely missed. Patrick Panatoni had a tricolor 6 list. This looks pretty standard. No number 128 or whatever it is, or 24, whatever the ice 3-drop is. I actually really like it as an anti-13 card. It just like blocks an attack once per turn and is really big. Sometimes that's just enough. But this will be pretty consistent. I do love the one of Kefka. That's actually been really, really good in playtesting. We're splitting our Celezes 3-2. I like less of this one just because I feel like it doesn't quite, and like generally I want to go 5 CP lock if I'm like putting in the deck commitment for this, and this is not as good with 5 CP lock as this one is. Like this closes out games, but like this one closes out games by just giving you so much advantage that you just win the game on the spot. But like I understand like why we would do that. We're on the full 3-3 3-2 for our water. Okay. Just 6 copies of Sabin makes sense. I like it. It looks totally playable. I think 6 feels relatively solved. Of note, we had Icewind featuring Shinryu. I'm always a little wary of playing a light card in a cast focus deck, just given that like when you need to cast like in Storm Off, you really need to Storm Off, and like the light card can stop you from doing that. But Shinryu does sometimes just maybe instead of spending the CP into a Luso board wipe, you just Shinryu them instead. Like maybe that's what you do if your opponent tries to rush you down. For our backups, 1 no-no again. That's pretty notable. He's showing up in a lot of these win lists. I might need to pull a copy of him, get him sleeved up, and see how he feels. We are on the Chocomog engine. Only 2 Chocomog summon, 3 Moogle, 1 Wall Trill there that helps us to get our Shinryus back in the deck. I like that. Class 9th, of course, the classic. Oh, Henelim. Interesting. Like it's Norstahl and searchable, but like usually you want to go for Uke. So that's a very interesting deviation from the norm. I wonder if that was specifically targeted at something like maybe a mono water now like just can't play the game, but like you're beating mono water every time with this deck anyway, I imagine. So I'm curious what this is intended to be in the deck for, rather than just running the ukes to try to accelerate. Usually these decks are just trying to step on the gas. Similarly, Medius is actually surprising. Again, like when you've cast Lock 3 times in a turn, Medius doesn't seem as important. Maybe we're just trying to stun like a 13 player for a turn for 2 CP. Seems okay, I suppose. 2 Triad, our Alexanders, our Azuras. Just 1/1 on every Atomos, 1 Rosa, so we're just doing the Lulu Chocobo thing. This is the thing I've really noticed is that like Lulu is like so efficient at what she does, like Lulu Chocobo, that like you just get to deep draw your deck while raising your cast count for your Zidane, for your Luso, for your Locke, for your Sid Hayes. That's just kind of where we're at with Lulu at this point. So I sort of get it. I might want to see one more accelerant like bumped in there, but I don't hate the idea. And as always, like this is going to be a majority wind with like a little of ice in there. So we have Sam Tool, who's of course the Dallas Materia Cup winner. We have Mono Water. This looks pretty standard. It's kind of, yeah, this is just Viridian's list. Ryan Chen's list. And then we have Warrior of Light. Go take a look at my channel for my take on Warrior of Light. This is a forward-focused one. Really, it's just kind of like rainbow good stuff is kind of what it actually is. We're using kind of the Moogle engine that I had in Dallas. It's actually not that far off my Dallas deck. Instead of being like a cast-focused deck, we're like trying to control the board state with Zidane, I guess. Yeah, it's just like all the good stuff basically in all the colors. This is one that I'd have to actually like kind of sit through and analyze a little bit more. I don't really have too much time to do that. I feel like I'd like to see Amaterasu and like Mist Dragon potentially bumped. I get like we're trying to get like some EXs, but like we're on 80 X burst. Like we're not gonna miss the third Kusith. I feel like for like the second Amaterasu, and like the second Amaterasu is really good when it comes up. Bosch seems a little difficult to cast. It's like the only other thing I can think of. Like we do have our Moogle package, but interesting. 2 Fusoya, wind, earth, fire, water, earth. Yeah, so the Rydia is going to conflict with the Moogles a little bit, so you get 4 on your Fusoya just about every time. It's pretty good. Rydia can get Garnet and Mistdragon. No, she can get Garnet and then Mistdragon or Chocomog. I like that. Or not Garnet, or Amaterasu and Chocomog. Yeah, I'd have to play this, but it looks really cool. Alright, Ray Grengs. We're going to go. This is Mono Lightning. This is like the EX Burst build. These are fine. It's not my favorite build of Mono Lightning. I took my favorite build of Mono Lightning to the event. But I kind of get what it's trying to do. I just feel like cards like Adia, 7 CP Odin, like these are just like there to be annoying EX bursts and not there because you actually like want to have them in your deck. Like I know that like in the EU championships they were on like Kane from like Opus 1. It's like another EX that like has a 5k power reduction on entry. Like I don't know. I think the game is a little bit past like a card you put in your deck to be an EX burst. And like I know our backup engine is pretty consistent. Like we can curve quickly, and then like we have Shinryu and a lot of haste and like ways of like clearing with that. But obviously these decks are doing really well. I think a lot of that is due to just how good the Scion engine is. But and these do also these decks can go aggro is the other nice thing. You like Hyo is a very fast way to kill your opponent. Yeah, this is 6. Pretty standard. This is, I think, almost the exact Materia Cup list. Okimoto was on a Rydia list, complete with the Riku. This was the wrong deck for the event. I will just outright say it. This deck was not well positioned against a field of mono water and mono lightning chaos arc. Um, yeah, I don't love like the Claris Kolka King of Concordia engine in my Rydia personally. Like I like the Sarah as your like main engine. Like this is on both, which is interesting. I haven't seen that before. We're on like 15 EXs. Like we're not like so heavy on EXs that we're like gonna hit 2 every single game. So like I don't love, and like Claris only has 2 targets. Period. Like once they're gone, they're gone. And there's also overlap. Like Sarah has to get Kolka in a lot of games, or like is supposed to get Kolka in some games to help like get your Rydia or get your Cecil going. It's a good deck. I do think that the Titan was sorely lacking in my build. This deck actually would be able to close games out, which mine was not. It's going to be very consistent. It's going to be powerful. It's very much an Okimoto build. See how many summons we're playing. We're really looking to interact with our opponent, but just a bad event for Rydia overall. And then Mono Water, this makes sense. Oki's a very competent, a very good Mono Water pilot. I'm surprised to see the Alphino. Almost wonder if that's the Opus 17 Alphino instead. It just was put marked wrong. Aerith, we really, really liked our Shinryu, didn't we? Huh. I guess recurring Shinryu, play Shinryu seems pretty decent. I get it. Uh, because we use the Sarah, we have to go Leonora Porum as one of our engines. It's a little unfortunate. I almost wonder if you'd be better off like running like triple Operate, triple Alchemist, triple Oracle, and then like 2 copies of Artemisian, and then like a Yuna. I guess we're not on very many summons here because we're using them for Rydia, but that's the other like thing that's a little bit like scary is that we are conflicting with Rydia because Rydia does need some number of water cards, so we're losing some water staples thanks to that. I'm sure Oki tested this list a lot. I'm sure there are things he liked about it. Shoutouts to 2 Tidus instead of 3. Okay, we're at 27 lightning rounds. Mohammed and Sam, I know we're on the exact same decks. Uh, as far as the Rydia stuff, they were on pretty similar stuff to me. Mohammed cleared. I did not. Congrats to him. Yeah, this looks pretty much identical. I can't find the. I'm sure there's like a 1 or 2 card difference here somewhere. I think I was on 2 Cryo and 1 or 2 Cryo, 2 Laparate or something like that instead. Might have been on 3 Rosa even. Now that I think about it. And then I think this is identical to my list. I know the backup 1111111 looks wrong. Oh no, they're on the Ramza. I wasn't on Ramza. But believe it or not, this is extremely powerful and extremely consistent. Turns out that being able to get like a backup and then like search anything with Alfino and then get like Ricard to dig for more backups ends up just meaning you're going to draw into them over the course of the game. So I know Sam Prime was on the exact same 2 lists. Steve Sauce on Leo. Please ban this card. Square. I am. When Leo goes off, there's so little counterplay and there's so little interaction when Leo is good. Uh, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Our ones are our monsters, Blue Goo and Quadav and Adam and Toys. I know Steve practiced this because he didn't know how to play against it with 13, which I would think would just be turn things sideways. But seems normal. I know that like a lot of these will be running 1 copy of like Princess Sarah, but I guess like we have to have like Gordon is like mission critical to the deck. I guess we have to like, or we put like a Sahagin Chief down, but like it's a lot easier to have Adam and Toy sit on the field, or like a Quadav or a Blue Goo, than it is to have the Sahagin Chief. We don't ever want to cast the Sahagin. Payloads, 3 Leviathan, 3 Thancred. Sephiroth, that should be on Theodore instead, probably. Just a better card. If you Amaterasu it, it's like, but sure. 2 Shinryu is a little interesting. Like it's a combo deck, so I get not wanting to run 3, but it's still like, man, that one goes to damage. It's like so rough. Luna Freya, like this is like a lightning stand-in almost, but like I feel like lightning is just better for what the deck wants to do. I'm not sure I agree with that one. I'd, I'd like the third realm too. Quattro Queen and Blue Mage are really good. They're like 4s that also get back Sahagin, so you can keep spinning the roulette on your Leo. The Lena is allow you to like potentially just go like Lena Leviathan to win the game. You still are curving backup, so Ash is a good card. Also great EX burst. Oh, there's the Theodore. I'm blind. Yeah, it's relatively standard for Leo. And then lastly, this is forward focused 13. Just take this list, copy it, go play with and against it. It's really really good. I don't know if Steve played on stream, but like if you want to learn how to play 13, this is like the deck to like the pilot to watch for like how to play. I think he sees lines in this deck that no one else does. My only criticism of this list, I'd play the other Alize. I know that like reviving the Sishtola is really really good, and like you have the ability to like go Grahatia for that. I like I get why this is here. Like Alize revive Graha, you can kind of like go for the Scion stuff instead. But I will also say, having played against the other Alize in 13, it is like the best 13 card that isn't Category 13, alongside like Squall. Like being able to like threaten double Vanille special so much more consistently thanks to that Alize is just so backbreaking. Like you like stabilize and your opponent goes like Vanille, or Imperilga, you just lose the game. This list is I I like it. It looks really good. The only other thing I would say is we're lacking haste in a lot of places. Like there's no Belias, there's no anything to like really push the end of the game other than like revive the Lightning Ishtola. And there's like a bit of awkwardness too, where it's like we have access to Stola, but like, are we playing the Stola to the field ever? The Lightning one, like, I feel like we should like run another Wind one if we wanted to do this, or like just not run this Stola, like run our 3 Stola here. I might have gone to like 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 2 or 3 of the 17 Alize. Run this. I still am fine with the Graha. Graha pulling out either of these is totally a-okay by me. Maybe run like 1 copy of Alfino so we can like have a recovery play off of the Graha. Even that I don't really love. Like, no, I wouldn't run the Alfino. The Ishtola, bump to 3 Alize, slide some Squalls in there. Give us like the extra copies of the Imperilga that we're missing. That's probably what I would change. More 6, more Mono Lightning EX Burst, more Mono Water. Again, Shinryu was the card of the event as far as I'm concerned. This is our first Ice Lightning list. I'm not gonna lie. I know that like better Ice Lightning pilots than me say otherwise, but there's not. There are not 48 other better cards than the third Alcid and third Zeromus, right? Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just outright wrong, and I just don't know how to pilot like the Ice Lightning stuff. But the number of games I win when my opponent goes Alcid Zeromus, or Alcid into Shantoto, or Alcid into now Rufus, just has to be so low, right? Alcid into Weiss, get a discard, and I get Dull Freeze a forward and a backup. I could be totally off base, and that's just me being not an Ice Lightning aficionado, but man, I feel like we've got to have something that we can do with that. I'm a big fan of running. I know that like this cloud gets us these, but like Aerith is just a good card in Ice Lightning now because like Aerith can get back 2 copies of Sephiroth, which is a terrifying thought. Recycles your Weiss, gets your backups as well if you had to pitch one early. Um, for what it's worth, this looks really good. It looks like it does the Ice Lightning thing. I'd be interested to see how the 2 summons they chose went. I think this is the same. Yeah, that's the same. Oh, that was not the same. No, that is very different from. Is it? No, that's basically the same list as Oki's. Uh, Todd was on like a Rainbow Rydia. Yeah, Hooded Man is actually kind of cool in here. Don't have too much to say. Anything that pops out like is like blowing my socks off. Yeah, it's Rainbow Rydia. And then 6, pretty normal. And then Ray Chow. Of course, Ray would be on 6. I think that's what he qualified for. And then Earth Lightning, Chaos Arc. I believe Ray was also the player that was on Wind Lightning, Chaos Arc in San Diego, so Chaos Arc makes sense. 3 Ramza. Wow. It's really interesting to see the difference between this and Ryan Chen's list, right? 2 Felthanos. Again, playing Chaos Arc and not looking to win the game. Why, Ramza even just like a, cheeky, I'm going to sit here and you're going to deal with me or you're going to lose is really funny. 15 summons, 15 backups. We honestly could even run Ramza in this list if we wanted to. 1 Seymour. I know that some players like running 2 Seymour, so you can go like Seymour, stack Arc, Seymour special, cast Arc for free. But we're on the Illusory Warlock, Lady of Antiquity, 3x Death. Yeah, I like the ratios here. I like that we are saying we're going to do the cards that are one-ofs are all searchable. If we really want this Ramu, we can search it. If we want this Ramu, this might be the wrong Ramu actually. But if we want those, they're searchable through Seymour, sort of, or Rydia. And if we don't want them, it's all at 3. We want 3 Sith. We want to be able to get our plays off over and over and over again. Every single forward is played at 3 except for Felthanos, who's just too expensive to be playing at 3. Our backups, we've got backup finding backup. Backup finding. We have 5 copies of backup engines in the deck. This looks really, really good. I might stick with either my Mono Lightning stuff or like I think Ryan's slightly better, but it's really close. But regardless, that is the Ghoul02 deck review for NA North American Continental Championship. Again, had an absolute blast at the event. Don't take anything I say with these decks to heart. I'm sure there are things that I'm just outright wrong on. But it's really interesting to see kind of these meta trends, kind of review them with all of you. We see that, Mono Water is kind of the deck to beat. Shinryu is like the dominating force in the meta game. Wind is kind of sneaking in there a little bit. Reports of its demise were grossly exaggerated. 13 did not show up in NA really at all. I will also tell you there was just none of it in the room whatsoever. Mono Lightning is like the new thing that people are doing. Like I think that was like the second most represented deck. 6 is still really, really good. And yeah, a couple other things here and there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.